Good morning, everyone. It's Lindsay from My Crafty Plans. Welcome back to my channel, or if you are new here, welcome to another day in my life. It is Planmas. Happy Planmas. We are almost done. Just a few more days left, and today I'm going to be bringing you along with me. This is going to be my last vlog of Planmas, and while I'm bringing you along with me all day as we're getting going, I am going to be sharing my 2022 reflections, my goals wrap up, my reflections on the year. I'm really excited to share this with you. I thought this would be kind of a fun way to talk about my year. I will be going through my individual annual goals. If you don't know, I use the MakseLife system for my goal setting. So I will be sharing what my 2022 goals were and telling you whether or not I accomplished them, and also just generally talking about how the year went. Stay tuned because my 2023 goals video is coming soon. I have not filmed it yet, but I've started working on my annual goals and I'm so excited to share that with you. So that will be coming super soon as well. But for today, we're going to be reflecting on the year while I bring you along with me. If I seem really high energy right now, it's because it's not actually first thing in the morning. I had a little problem with my camera footage this morning, so I'm re-recording the intro, but still here we can pretend. Before I jump back into my day, I did want to just share one more thing with you, and that is if you are feeling like you're behind on your goal setting process, if you haven't started your annual goals yet, if you haven't started your reflections and you're planning on doing those things, I just want to let you know you are not behind. It is okay to work on your own timeline. There is no rule that says your annual goals must be set before the end of the year. They aren't any less effective or powerful if you set them in January or February. Whenever you set them is the best time to set them. And if you don't want to set goals, that's also fine. I didn't for a number of years. I personally was feeling very behind this year. I'm on a slower schedule than I was last year for this stuff for sure. My planner lineup video literally just went up. And last year I had it done the first week in December, and as well, I think I was already done with my goals at this point last year, and I'm just getting started with them now. So you are not behind. I am not behind. It is okay to be where you are. And with that in mind, I actually have a little giveaway. So as I mentioned, I am using the MakseLife system for my goal setting planner again this year. This will be year 2 in the system. And during the launch of their 2023 line and during Black Friday sale, if you purchased anything, you got one of these as a gift with purchase. And this is a 2022 year-end reflections workbook. It's just a little notebook that's got some prompts, some questions to think about the year. And I have been working in this and it's been so wonderful. It's a really powerful reflections tool helping me wrap up my year. And I actually have 2 of them because I got one in my MakseLife review crew order this year. If you don't know, I was part of the review crew, so I did get to preview some of the planners before they were available for launch, which was so awesome and so cool. But then I did shop again during the launch to pick up a couple of last things, so I have 2 of these. I definitely don't need 2 of these. A lot of work went into the one that I do have, so I will be gifting this one along, and I would like this to go to someone who doesn't already have one and who really, really wants to put in the work to do the reflections for 2022. So if you're planning to do MakseLife but picked up an undated planner during one of the sales or during the warehouse sale, so you didn't get the reflections book and you want one, or if you are doing the MakseLife from the online system or using a different goal setting system or anything where you didn't get the reflections notebook, or you're unsure about whether or not you want to set goals and want to start with reflections and don't have one of these. If that applies to any of you, please just comment down below and be a subscriber. That's all you have to do to enter the giveaway. I will leave the details again in the description below, but I'd really, really like for this to go to someone who plans to use it and also who doesn't already have one. So I'm hoping that you will all honor that. Literally the front page of the planner right here says the power in these pages belongs to, and I'm hoping that this will belong to one of you, but it only works if you use it. So just think about it, and if you would like to win, you can enter down below. With that, I'm going to jump back into my day and take you along with me.
So I've got my coffee. We just did the bus drop for my big kid, and my other one is at preschool, and the baby is home with me today. So we'll see how this goes, but I wanted to just check in with my planner because I feel like I have a lot of errands and I'm just feeling a little bit scattered. So I want to make like a quick list actually on my phone because I want to make like like a shopping list to make sure I don't forget anything while we're out. So I just popped on the TV for a minute so that I could get my thoughts together, check in really quick, and then I'm gonna take the baby out to do some errands with me. So I need to go to the bank, to the post office, and to Target. I actually think that I will just go ahead and highlight those while I'm talking about that. So for the post office, I need to go grab a little scrap piece of paper too. So for the post office, I need to, before I do that, I need to check on one giveaway where the winner hadn't gotten back to me last night, and then package up something else or possibly both of them. And then also while I'm doing that, I might just post another giveaway while I'm getting stuff together just to keep it going. All right. And then I did the dishes actually already. Okay. And then the other thing that I need to do is Target, and we are like 100% out of trash bags. So that is emergency level, which I almost just wrote trash emergency trash bags. And then I need a little gift for one of the teachers. Oh, I also need to call the candy store, which I obviously have all of this, but I'm just writing it around again to just like really solidify things into my head. Was there anything else that I needed to get at Target? I feel like we're all done with kids' gifts and presents that we need. And then I also need to go to the bank, get a whole lot of cash so that we can give like holiday tips, gifts to like the people we need to give to, the piano teacher or cleaning people. But also I am class parent for one of the preschool parents, so I need to also get cash for that. Okay, so I just put a little note about how I want to split the cash that we're getting. And then I think that's it. I did not get to, this is my habit tracker for the week, and I did not get to bed on time, but we had a good day. My Tuesday video is up. So that is all of that. The chicken is already out. I think that's it for that. I need to think for another minute about the Target list, but I think that's where we're kind of at for today. Candy store doesn't open till 10, so I can call them right when they open. And then if I need to, I can get more from Target while we're out if I'm too late on the candy. I meant to call last week, but I was just a little unsure of what I'm doing, and I need it by Thursday. And like with the holidays at the end of the week and teachers' gifts and stuff, they can get super slammed this time of year, but hopefully I can pick up that. And then, also cards for the teachers as well. Okay. I'm gonna get them specific cards. I do have some cards here if I can't find anything I like, but I think that is it for my planners. So I think we're take another minute and then I am gonna go run some errands. Back from Target, I started to make lunch, and I also started to talk about my goals and catch you up on everything. But while I was doing that, the battery in my microphone died, which I did not realize, so I just kept talking. So I've sped this up a little bit, and I'm going to do a voiceover and try and catch you up to the live film. Apologies for that. Hopefully it's not too weird, but we're going to dive right into my goals. Right now, what I'm talking about is where I am in the reflections process, we'll come back to, and my 2 big stretch goals for the year. So MakseLife recommends 1 to 3 stretch goals. I had 2 this year, one in the personal category, which was creating my master schedule, and the other in the fun category, which I've talked extensively about on my channel, which was the scheduling fun. And that one I am actually going to have a whole video on as part of the Planner Tips collab. So more coming on that. I did accomplish both of these, which feels really, really amazing. And honestly, I kind of knocked both of them out of the park, if I do say so myself, especially the fun one, which we'll just start with that. Basically, my goal for the year was to just make sure we always had plans. Anytime we were going to be home, the weekends, holiday breaks, any days off from school, have plans, do something, get out there, have fun. And we have just had the most fun this year. We have gone to the museum at least 10 times. We went to the zoo 4 times, countless beach weekends, play dates. We went to 10 different playgrounds at least this year. We've just had a lot of fun. Grandparent excursions, all kinds of things, parties, more play dates, anything you can think of. I've scheduled it in. I worked hard hard to schedule it in. And it was a huge mindset shift for me. I was not used to scheduling stuff like this, especially so far in advance. And now it's really become a habit and a routine. And I do this every week, and I don't have to, force myself to think about it. I just do it, and it's had an amazing impact on my life. Seriously, nothing in anything else that I've done has had so much of a shift in my life, in the whole family's life. We are just having much more fun as a family. We're much happier as a family, and I'm much happier too from this. So it was amazing. And again, I will be talking a lot more about this on Saturday's video. Now, obviously, there were some weekends that it didn't happen, or where people were sick and we couldn't do something, or plans got canceled, etc. And for those weekends, I really tried to have a bank of activities to do at home. We did a ton of craft projects, just like trying to create new ways. We put a swing set in our backyard so that we would have more places to play, and we did play, and we've had a lot of fun. Honestly, we've only had like a handful of like bad weekends throughout the year, and for the most part, we've just had some really great times and some really great weekends. Creating a master schedule lives in my personal category, but it definitely touches and had like little mini breakout goals in both the health and wellness category and in the physical environment category. This is a document that I created, that I worked super hard on this year, that has just a list of when everything needs to happen. When are the kids' doctor's appointments? When is my doctor's appointment? When is the car due for maintenance? When are you supposed to get your chimney cleaned? When are you supposed to rotate your mattress? Literally everything, things that service providers do and things that we need to be doing ourselves. And I've kind of tried to collect that data over the course of the year, still adding to it as new things come up or as I remember things. And just it's all in one place. It also has all of the phone numbers of the people to call for those things, all of the kids' doctors' phone numbers, all of our doctors' phone numbers, all the plumber's phone numbers, literally everything you can think of. And it's in a Google Doc. I did originally anticipate putting this in like a book or something, but it just made much more sense to do online. My husband has access to it. It also feels like really good long-term planning, in addition to helping me, if there were ever an emergency, you could send someone this document. My husband has access to it, and then he has all of the information that he needs. So those were my 2 stretch videos. I am going to throw it back over to the live talking.
So as I keep going through the day, I'm going to dive into the other goals on my list that I worked on. I did not accomplish every single goal on my list this year. I did a lot of them. There were some that I put aside, and there were some that I ultimately decided weren't really what I wanted. And there were some where I had some misses, but I did accomplish both of my stretch goals for the year, and that feels really, really good. And even more, I feel like they were good goals. They've genuinely improved my life, and there are things that I plan to continue with for next year. But now that I have that foundation in place, I don't think they need to be stretch goals anymore. Even the scheduled fun, I've gotten very good at it. It's definitely a habit of practice of a way of thinking about my week and on my life, and thinking about the weekend on Wednesday instead of thinking about it Saturday morning, and making sure we've got that set up, thinking about things more in advance, booking things out. And I do feel like that's really become a habit, and so I don't need to have either of these things as a stretch goal anymore, even though they will definitely still be on my goals, just more as maintenance goals rather than stretch goals. And if you don't know, MakseLife has 3 different types of goals. There's your stretch goals, the middle kinds, like the regular goals, and then maintenance goals. Maintenance goals are like things that you are already working well in your life that you want to maintain, and that definitely applies to both of my stretch goals for this year, which I think is so awesome. And I'm really very proud of myself and those 2 goals in particular for this year. Our water is boiling here. We've got some farfalle, some bow ties, as we call them, for the kids. My baby can have that for lunch, and then I will have some lunches for later in the week to send to school. So my kids all prefer a hot lunch, so we do very few sandwiches. My son will just sometimes eat like a sun butter and jelly, because they're not allowed to bring nuts to school, but oftentimes they get some kind of pasta dish for lunch, or just plain pasta, to be honest, with other components on the side. So while I'm still going here, in the personal category, I had 2 other goals besides that main goal this year. The first one was around carving out time for creative pursuits and, honoring my creativity and finding creative projects. And the other one was around establishing routines, specifically morning routine, afternoon routine with the kids, and also a bedtime routine. I did both of these things, but kind of differently than I would say I expected at the beginning of the year. The creative pursuits took a completely different
a completely different direction than I was expecting this year. I was expecting this to be things like decorative journaling, more drawing, more lettering, things like that, which were previously hobbies of mine, more sewing, things crafting, that those kinds of hobbies. I did not spend a lot of time doing any of those things this year, like very, very minimal. I think I only got my sewing machine out twice the whole year, and both times was to welcome a new baby into the family, the wider family, not, the immediate family. So I didn't spend a lot of time doing the creative things that I was hoping to carve out time. Instead, I have found so much joy and creativity in the functional side of planning and in my channels and social media, where I don't feel like I'm missing that. I still want to honor those hobbies when I feel like it, but I love the way things are working right now. It feels creative to me to film a reel, even if it's around something functional, and I'm just having a blast with that. And so this went in a totally different direction than I was expecting, but I do think that I absolutely accomplished this goal. I've made a lot of time for my hobbies. I'm filming right now as I cook lunch, but this, to me, it feels creative, and I do really enjoy it, and I love the way it feels, so I am happy with that. And then the other one around routines. We've built really strong routines, but I think when I was thinking like create a morning routine or create an evening routine, I was envisioning Plan with Lakin. If you're familiar with Lakin's channel, I absolutely love her. She's one of my favorite YouTubers. And when she shows like her 2-hour morning routine, I get so envious of it. It's so beautiful. It's so fantastic. And I think I knew I wasn't going to have 2 hours to devote in the morning, but I was thinking about something like that.
So I was just interrupted by my husband coming home, and I decided to just pop upstairs while he was home and actually upload the footage from earlier today. That way I could get it off my phone. But while I'm doing that, I will just finish up with the personal category. So here, my microphone cut back out again, so I am back on the voiceover. This is the last one, I promise. And again, I apologize, but I was talking about how like Lakin has her whole 2-hour morning routine, and I was trying to build out things and like add more things into my day. And eventually I just had a mindset shift, and I realized routines are just the things that we do every day. They are the things that add structure to our life, and I didn't need to create like a whole fancy thing. Every morning I wake up, I make the bed, I have my coffee, I get the kids ready to go, I pack their lunches, and that's fine. That's the routine. Saying that I want to do that by a certain time makes it a little bit more concrete and more helpful. And that's what I ended up doing. We worked a lot on the kids' afternoon school routine as well, and the kids' morning routine, and working with them. Still more to go on that, but I do feel like I accomplished this goal, just not necessarily in the way I was envisioning. I just more like changed my mind about what it means to have a routine, a morning routine. And I do plan to build from here as well and add more things that need to be added in, but I'm not going to like worry about having a super aesthetic morning or evening routine that doesn't really make sense in my life anymore. It's actually much later in the day now, but I decided to just cut this in with kind of like the missing sound on the footage, and it was just kind of boring with the sped up of me at the computer while I was talking about the two categories before I get back to like live talking about it later on, which are the fun and the work categories. I actually have my goals right here. So I just thought I would jump in front of the camera and try and go kind of quickly like I have been to catch you up on those. So in the fun category, besides my main goal for the year, my big stretch goal for the year, the other thing that I had around here was around vacations, and I had put to go on a family vacation and then to take a kid-free trip. So we did the family vacation. We took the kids to Jamaica over spring break in April. We had a blast. We went for like 5 days. It was super, super fun, and we had a really great time. We stayed at a resort. It was definitely a very good first family of 5 vacation. First vacation for the baby. It was actually the first time my 2-year-old had ever been on a plane, which that part was an absolute disaster. But we had a super fun trip. Excited to travel more in the future, especially as the kids get older. But this was a great way to break the ice. It was the first time that we had been on a plane. Any of us had been on a plane since before the pandemic. So it just felt really good to go somewhere and we had a really fun time. So definitely a worthy goal, and I hope to take another vacation next year. So on the other trip, the kid-free vacation, we were not able to make that happen this year, and we realized probably not even halfway through the year that this was just not a realistic goal, that we were not going to be able to make this happen for this year. It's just a whole lot to ask someone to watch 3 kids for like any extended period of time. That's definitely a big ask, and we didn't really have anyone where we felt like they could handle all 3 kids together, and like school schedules and just all of the chaos of life. And we just ultimately decided it wasn't going to happen this year, that it was probably not worth the effort. What we did instead was focus on quality time together, my husband and I. And also we did get to stay one night away from the kids, which was a much more reasonable ask. We stayed at a hotel for a wedding that was super close by, that we easily could have driven there and back, but instead we decided to stay for a hotel. And that was really, really fun. Work and learning is the category where I made the least progress this year. It's definitely the area that I feel like, I don't want to say worst about, because that's not what it is, but most uncertain, like most unaccomplished. I don't really know. I'm honestly not feeling that guilty about it. So I don't know that those are the right words, but I definitely did not do the goals that I set out to do. And I spent most of the year like cycling between highs and lows. Like, I love this and I want to keep doing it, or I want to go back to work full time and I absolutely don't want to do this and I don't want to ever go back to work full time, and just kind of like everything in between. And mostly what I feel about it is just like uncertain about what I want in the long term. So for next year, I can focus on that. In the meantime, while that uncertainty has been bouncing around in my brain, I have kept going with my freelance work, and I have done more freelance work this year than I did last year. I have written more articles this year than I did last year, and I made more money this year than I did last year. And I think that's something to be proud of and something to tout as an accomplishment. Even while I was feeling so uncertain, I did keep going with the things that needed to be done. I just don't feel like I built any systems in place for the long term, for transitioning this to be a long-term opportunity, or to rejoin the workforce in a more concrete way in the future. I didn't make any of those plans. I didn't accomplish any of those goals, but I did keep going with what I have been doing, and that's going to have to be enough for now because it's what happened. So the baby is napping now. I've hopefully resolved my filming issues, so I apologize for the little bit of voiceover and the little bit of back and forth, but I am going to wrap some presents while I film this. I was editing on my computer before this, but I had problems with that too, and now I just like, it's not been a good technology day. But anyway, I am going to jump back in. And I believe I was on the family and relationship goals. So with that, I will share. My focus for this area was around quality time, and my goals were around screen-free family time every day, time away from the kids, one-on-one time with both my husband and with the little kids, and then nurturing my own friendships. Those were sort of my 4 goals. So I will say, I'm going to wrap these binoculars. We actually don't know who these were from. They came in the mail and we literally cannot figure out who they are from. But we're going to wrap them and give them as Hanukkah presents. Before I jump into my goals, I will actually share that we have maybe a little bit of a controversial gifting strategy with the kids, as in we try and buy them as little as humanly possible and use presents that people who live far away have sent for Christmas or Hanukkah and all kinds of things. The kids get to open one present every single night for the 8 nights of Hanukkah, plus then they'll get Christmas presents from my husband's family. And we try and buy as little of that as possible. If we do fill in the gaps, and if there is something that like we really want them to have, we will get that for them. But you know, this is just what it is. If you saw my swatch party video, gifting is not my love language. I don't like to give and I don't like to receive. So anyway, this is just how we handle that. And the kids do not know the difference. But we tell them exactly who something is from. Although in this case, I have no idea. Anyway, we're going to wrap this. I'm going to try and get a slightly better angle here. I'm going to use this little table to assist me in wrapping. This is actually a printer stand that my silhouette usually sits on. And I'm going to use this for wrapping. I am going to make some cuts in these videos so that I can make sure that the sound is working, because that was a really stressful situation. So anyway, I feel like before too, as I was saying, I feel like I seem like the type of person who would be good at wrapping. And honestly, if I make an effort on it, I can do it like nice and neat, but it's not something I choose to spend a ton of time on. So hopefully the sound is not too bad with me wearing the microphone as well, which is the culprit of the problems earlier. But family relationships goals. So screen-free family time. This is an area where I judge myself incredibly harshly. Like, I'm just going to throw that out there. I try to give myself grace and slack, but I don't know why. Somewhere rooted in the back of my brain is that children should not be allowed to watch any television whatsoever. And I have a really hard time shaking that thought. I like know compared to peers, like compared to people, other parents that I interact with, our children do seem to watch significantly less television, certainly than like other folks in our family and stuff. But somehow it just never seems like small enough amounts to me. And I just try and tell myself, I've been trying to tell myself, you watched a ton of TV as a kid and you turned out okay enough anyways. But I find this a really hard thought to shake. We have certainly done mostly a pretty good job, caveats like illness and different things aside, but like it's so the temptation to just turn the TV on when like the kids are screaming and melting down is so strong, but it helps in the short term. It doesn't help in the long term. I'm fine with them. They get to watch a little bit of something almost every day. We do occasionally do weekend days with no television. I think we've done a pretty good job of this year. Like objectively speaking, I never feel like it's enough, and I will continue to work on it. But I will also continue to try and tell myself that it's okay for kids to watch TV. That's not, all kids watch TV. All kids have screen time, or at least, I mean, I'm sure there are kids that don't. But anyway, that mostly I'm happy-ish with where things are, and I'm also just trying not to judge myself so much for letting my kids watch TV. Anyway, the next thing with the one-on-one time, this one has kind of developed naturally. I don't feel like I've put like a ton of effort into this. I've done like a couple of one-on-one outings with the kids, but the new school schedule which I didn't think that this was going to be the case. I was actually really worried with the 2-school schedule because my oldest is in public elementary school now and my little ones are still in preschool, and I don't think that this fits in here at all. Oh no, we're good. We're just gonna make this work and the baby can have this one. She's gonna not know the difference anyways. Yeah, the school schedule has really helped with having like more one-on-one time, because I get to spend time with my big kid, who is really the one that like I feel like needs it the most, because she's the oldest, so she doesn't get that attention when we're all together because she's much like more independent. So I get to spend some time with her at 3 mornings a week when both little ones are in preschool. That's just with us, so that's really helpful to that, and I'm really happy with how that's going. I spend so much time with the baby alone, honestly, like so much time. We could do less time on that one. And with my son, we've had some special days as well. And then also with my husband, I actually feel like we are spending good quality time together away from the kids. Some of this is definitely a little bit of a reframe because, like it counts if you think it counts. And sometimes we're not people who like love to go out, and we don't need like an out of the house date night all of the time or anything like that. But we have our takeout and TV night, like where we watch what we want to watch together and hang out and have our dinner after the kids have gone to bed. And then anytime when I start to feel like we haven't spent a lot of time together, which like honestly I'm feeling like that a little bit right now. Just Planmas has been kind of intense, and I've been doing way more planner or filming nights than I usually do. But once the break is here and once I finish this up, because I do really want to finish this up, then we'll get back to that. So overall, I think that's gone well this year. Time away from the kids every week. It's been hit or miss. Some weeks it feels good. Some weeks it doesn't. Honestly, the biggest predictor of that is how sick the kids are. So right now that's not been going super well. But throughout the year, it's been well, and the effort has definitely been worth it. For nurturing my own friendships, I actually feel okay about this one. I don't feel like I've made a ton of effort, but some other people's efforts has directly benefited me in this area. So I am feeling better about this than I was at the beginning of the year, and I'm going to continue to work on it. I also have just found like the whole volunteering for the PTA thing has also really helped with this, because I feel like I'm building a community and making friends from my daughter's new school that are in like, the same stage of life as me and everything. And that's also been really nice. So I'm pretty happy with this one. not a slam dunk, but it's also not a total myth. I really hope that my absolute butchering of wrapping this is not offending anyone. When it is not for my own kids, when I get to the part where I need to wrap the presents for the cousins, I will make significantly more effort to make it look reasonably normal. But my kids are going to tear through this in like 2 seconds and they're not even going to notice. So I'm just not. So I'm going to write on this, I'm going to label what it is. And then that I have for this, I have it for all 3 kids. And we're actually going to give this gift tonight, which is why I started with it. I'm going to move this out of the way, check the footage, make sure my sound is working, and then I'm going to come do the next one. But next up, I'm going to wrap. I do have like 2 sciencey gifts that I got the kids. This one got I found on Amazon flash deals and it got totally destroyed in the mail, but I checked all the pieces inside. If we were gifting it to someone else, I would have returned it. But because it's for my kids, my son is obsessed with dinosaurs and crystals. So I saw this on the flash deals and I was just like, this is the perfect thing for him. Oh my goodness. So really, really excited that I found this, and hopefully it works really cool because I think it's kind of cool too. We do a lot of STEM type stuff with the kids. I think it's really important. My husband is an engineer by background, and I studied math in college, so we're both STEM people. Hopefully you can see me. Anyway, the next category is health and wellness, and my word of the year on that one was consistency, which I have not. Well, I guess that's only one of them. I had 3 goals in this category. One was the proactive appointment scheduling. That goes into that main goal. That ties back into that main goal that I had in the personal category around the master schedule. I've done a fantastic job with this. We can move on. I already talked about how helpful that's been for our life. The next one was around my dental routine and doing my full whole dental routine using my prescription toothpastes. If you don't know, I have a lot of problems with my teeth and gums. Some of it is from childhood. I had a lot of dental work done that multiple dentists have told me is now causing problems for me later in life, even though it looks really nice. And then also I have some of it was from pregnancy. I had pregnancy-induced gingivitis with all 3 kids, and because of the other work that I have done in my mouth, it just takes a really long time for that to recover. Anyway, I have done an amazing job with this. I can count the number of times that I've missed my dental routine on my 2 hands for the entire year. I've been incredibly consistent with this. Unfortunately, it has not really helped all that much. I briefly graduated earlier this year away from having to go to the dentist 4 times a year to going 3 times a year, and then got knocked back. I have had, I think, 3 cavities this year, and I haven't been sent for any deep cleaning, so I guess that's good. And I haven't been referred back to the periodontist again since last year, so I guess that's good. Some progress, but a lot of this is just what's really frustrating to work super hard and be so consistent with something and not see results. And what I just try and tell myself is how much worse it would be if I didn't do all of the things that I do. But this is it's a combination of bad luck, genetics, and things that have already happened to me when I was a child that I've got no control over. So there's nothing I can really do about it except keep doing what I'm doing. I don't think this is going to be in my goals for next year. I do plan to keep obviously doing my whole thing, but it doesn't really feel like something that needs to be in my goals anymore. The other part related to this was I also just wanted to start tracking my cycle this year, not because of any, not symptom tracking, just literally, do you know when your next period will be? Because you're going to get it at a really inconvenient time, not have any tampons in the house, and completely have forgotten that it happens because we've taken permanent birth control measures and I just don't think about it anymore. So I've done this and I've done it enough. I will keep doing it, and I haven't done anything fancy with it, but literally all I want to know is hey, is my period coming this week? And also just I've noticed that my cycle is starting to change. I'm in my mid-30s. I'm not having kids anymore. So just in case anything alarming happens that I need to inform my OB about. But other than that, we're good on that. And then the last one was finding a routine that brings movement to my life. This is probably what I'm going to call one of my biggest goal fails of the year. I'm not feeling too bad about it, but I did not really make very much progress on this. What I've discovered is that when it is cold outside, I do not feel like exercising. When it is warm outside, I do feel like exercising and feel like being outside and walking and taking the kids on walks and all that kind of stuff. So I had a really great spring, fall, and summer, like, you know, the 7-8 months of the year where you can be outside comfortably and not in like a big jacket. I've had a really easy time and great time with this and feel good about how everything went. The period of time that we're in right now where like my hands hurt because they're so cold the second I step outside, it's not going well. So I am reassessing this for next year. I would like to move more throughout the year, throughout the day, but this for me is a really fine line that you're walking. I have no desire to be anywhere in wellness, diet, exercise world. And I don't ever want to go back to those spaces again, those spaces in my mind again. So it's really hard for me to find a balance between feeling my best, living that healthy life without getting kind of sucked into that rabbit hole. And to me, it's more important to stay out of that rabbit hole than it is to exercise or do anything like that. And that's just the reality of where I'm at in my life. And yeah, so as soon as it starts to feel like an unhealthy obsession, I have worked too hard to get away from that kind of mindset to ever go back there. And for me, this one is just do what you can, but it's more important to me. It's more important to my mental health and my overall health that I kind of stay out of those areas than it is for me to get exercise. And that's just the reality of how I feel about it. I would like to move more, especially when it's outside, but I still haven't found like right level of commitment or balance that doesn't feel like it's heading in a bad direction mentally, but is heading in a good direction physically, if that makes sense. So I can continue to work on that next year. It will definitely be on my goals. That's the health and wellness category. I'm going to move on before I say something else. This was the crystal toy. Okay. So I am going to move on to the next one, which is spiritual and personal growth. So this category, I felt like, I wonder if I can fit this in here. This, again, is going to my kids. Yeah, I think I might just be able to squeeze this. Okay, and this is a color chemistry set. I saw this all over the place from Crayola and caved and bought it. So this was an impulse kids buy. Oh, under spiritual and personal growth, this was the category that I felt like the most unsure about going into the year as the MakseLife system. Largely just because I've mentioned this before, but I'm deeply uncomfortable with the word spiritual. I just don't like it. It's not a word that resonates with me, and I think that just kind of tripped me up. But I have been mostly able, as I've been working through the flow of this, I've been able to kind of put my dislike of that word aside, and I've made great strides in this category. So one of my goals here was around creating routines to distress and ease frustrations. And my other goal literally just says like forgive and forget. Basically just like, forgive past wrongs that I am able to, forgive myself, forgive others. And if I can't, just forget and move on. I don't want to be dwelling on these negative things. I don't need these thoughts. I don't need them. I don't need that kind of energy in my life. And I think both of these, so it hasn't happened exactly how I thought, like some other things have. But for me, the biggest thing here with both of these has actually just been a mindset shift that started over this summer. And I've spoken about this a lot, but my mantra has just become, you can't control everything. You can control how you react to things. And I if there is a conversation that I don't want to be having, I just don't have it. And I just walk away and move on. And I'm going to serve myself here and be selfish here and protect myself here. I'm just going to say, this is not a conversation that I want to be having, or I'm not even going to say anything. I'm just going to say, I have to go check on the kids and walk away. And just that thing has just been really tremendously helpful. I feel like mentally I'm in a much better space with a lot of this stuff. I'm getting along with extended family members better. There's less, of that family bickering that kind of goes on. There's been a lot less of that. That I feel like I am a confrontational person. You do not always have to have the argument. Sometimes it is unproductive and it's better to just walk away. And that I think has been huge for me. I haven't necessarily created created so many routines around it, but I feel like I've insulated my brain. One thing that I haven't done as well with is kind of just like, especially kid related stress really just starts to build up and then I boil over. And as I've already said on this video, then you end up crying in the doctor's office. So I am going to be working more on that next year for sure. But I do think I've done a pretty good job in this category. Still more room for improvement. So in case I didn't already say this, I am just labeling what the gifts are with Post-it notes and writing the first initial of which kid it goes to. That way I can figure it out. Some of these are already wrapped over here. Do you like this is my dad's, my dad dropped this off with we've got some flip-flops, some summer tropical wrapping paper, and then some skeleton wrapping paper. So this is from my dad, and he very handily also labeled what is in there, so I know that that's clothes. But yeah, so that's just a thing that happened. My dad's hilarious. Anyway, clearly cares about the wrapping as much as I do. So then we've got this. These are actually from my father-in-law, but I'm going to go ahead and wrap them up because he gave them to him. And if you mail presents to my house instead of giving them to my kids in person and don't specifically like commit to a date to come over and watch the kids unwrap them, then they get given as Hanukkah presents. So that's what's happening here. We will actually see him during Christmas, but he sent the presents, so we're going to open them before we see him because we're not going to see him until like super late Christmas night and at someone else's house, and I'm not going to bring presents to someone else's house. So anyway, just moving my goals where I can see. On financial, this is just not an area where I felt like I had too much work to do. I didn't focus on this. All of my goals here were maintenance goals for last year. I do have some more goals that I've been thinking about for this year. Now that I feel like it's just an area of my life that was already running pretty smoothly, and given the other things I was going to try and work on, I didn't feel the need to really emphasize this area. But now that other things are running more smoothly, I feel like this is an area where there's potential to do a little bit more digging. Nothing too major, but just like taking a more active role in our long-term planning. And so we had 3 goals here. The first one was just around like the regular monthly and quarterly reviews. So I did all of these. Basically, I just have like my list of money statistics that I track each month. I've done this for a really long time, and that I added in these quarterly ones. So I did them all. I didn't really do anything with the quarterly information. The monthly information we totally use, and that's already like integrated into our life. I didn't really do anything with the quarterly information. I pulled our credit score once a quarter, and I checked all of the balances on our like long-term accounts, our retirement accounts, the kids' college savings, that kind of stuff. Our brokerage account once per quarter, and I didn't do anything with that. My husband does more with this stuff than with that piece of it than I do. So, but I would like to be more involved with that. So that is some potential room for growth there. But overall, I did what I said I was going to do. I just don't know that it was any different or like made any meaningful changes in my life. Then the other thing, that one that I did do that I highly recommend that you do if you haven't done, and all of that, is we finalized and updated our long-term planning. We got both of our wills finished and taken care of and signed and official. We checked in with our life insurance and all of that kind of like end of life planning type stuff. Super morbid, hate to think about it, but it's the right thing to do. It's the responsible thing to do. We've got 3 kids. So that was that. And then the last thing on my goals was to establish an allowance system for the kids. And we did some testing on this and decided that it wasn't working, and decided that our kids were too young, or we didn't really know what we wanted to do with it. People have different opinions about this. I personally did not get an allowance growing up, and so it's like a little bit foreign to me, and we haven't decided if we'll revisit it or not. But for right now, my kids are just not ever anywhere where they need to spend money. I just like, they're not, I don't know, they never go anywhere without us, like where they would be spending money. I would absolutely want to teach them like the value of money, which is the goal with that, right? It's not about like giving them money. It's about like teaching them the value of things. So maybe there are other ways to do that. Maybe we'll revisit the allowance as they get a little bit older, but yeah, we left that one aside. So for this, because it's not for me, I'm also going to write who it's from before I forget. Next and last in the goals, we have some friendship bracelet makers, and also we have physical environment, which is home. And the first one of these, again, feeds back into, I'm going to put that aside and grab something that is going to fit in here, which is, this is just like some dress up costume stuff. It's actually, I think, just like capes and masks that are like knockoff superhero ones that I again picked up on Amazon on Black Friday sale. But anyway, physical environment. So the first one, create and follow a master cleaning and maintenance list. I already talked about this in my big 2 goal section. So and I already talked about that in my big 2 goal section. I laid a really great foundation and I am looking forward to building on that more. The next one was continuous decluttering and also cycling toys and seasonal decor. We have fall decor and no other season. So we have fall decor and all the rest of the year decor. We did do that. I don't know if I want to do more with that next year or not. I haven't decided yet. And then the toy declutter is still coming. It will be done before the end of the year. We definitely have plans to do it, but we haven't done it yet. That's a good winter break activity. So I expect that to be finished on the goals for this year. We did it last year, the same time of year. And that's basically, we just go in the playroom and all of the kids' room, dump out every single last one of the toys, resort them, put stuff away that's not being used anymore, throw out anything where like half the pieces are missing, put all of the pieces to things back together, and then cycle some of that out of the main part of the house into the basement, and also, donate things to charity. And we will be donating more this year to charity. 1, we are out of the baby phase, so we don't need baby toys anymore. And 2, we are planning to finish our basement next year. So we are going to be losing some of that just general storage space. So we will be taking care of that. And then just under the continuous decluttering, I've done a pretty good job with this. I sort the kids' clothes a couple of times a year. My clothes, my husband's clothes. Well, my husband does his, but I help him sort his clothes. The office, I could probably use a teensy bit more work. Overall, we did a huge kitchen reorg this year, which was fantastic. So overall, I do a pretty good job of this. I think trying to formalize this schedule a little bit more might be helpful in the future, but overall, it's how I live my life. I like a lot of clutter, decorative clutter in my office. I like a lot of planner stuff around. I do. But other than that, I don't like a lot of clutter. We don't accept hand-me-down gifts from any family members, despite their best efforts, with some super, super rare exceptions. But for the most part, I don't want to invite that stuff into my house unless I like specifically know where it's going to go, what it's going to be used for. I don't like a lot of clutter. But that is actually all of my goals that I've been through. So I'm going to wrap some more presents, and I will catch up with you at the next activity.
So it's about to be time to pick up the kids from school. The baby is up from her nap, keeping an eye out for the bus, and we are gonna run to pick up my son from preschool, and then, do our afternoon usual and get dinner ready. And I will hopefully be chatting a little bit more generally about my reflections and how the year overall went. And then I will flip through the whole reflections book just so you can see what I've been working on and see what the book is all about, so you can decide if you wanna enter the giveaway too. So dinner is cooking and we are waiting for my husband to get home, and then we will do Hanukkah. We've been doing it before dinner. So we got our presents, we got our 3 candles for the 3rd night of Hanukkah, and we are ready to go.
So to wrap this up, I'm going to share a few final thoughts about how I felt about 2022 as a whole. I'm also going to very quickly flip through the reflections notebook. I'm going to show you the one that I've been working on. I'm not 100% done with this, but I have thought about all of the pages, and for some of them I do have some filming planned, which is why I haven't physically written in them yet, but I'll show you what I do have and talk briefly about what I plan to finish out on them. And that way you can also see the reflections notebook and think about whether it's something you want to win in the giveaway. And if you do, you can enter that. But just generally speaking, I honestly I've said this before and I will say it again, this has been the best year of my life since becoming a parent. We have had so much fun. I feel so organized. I'm really happy with how things are. A few couple of problem areas aside, overall, the way I am feeling about this year is fantastic. I am happier than I have ever been. I am more fulfilled than I have ever been. And I've just been having a great time. We had a fantastic year and I'm really proud of that. A lot of that is because of the hard work that I put into my goals and that I put into this year. I say that MakseLife can absolutely change your life, but only if you work at it. Just like anything else, buying a planner is never the magic solution to fixing something, but creating those systems, working with those systems can absolutely change your life. And MakseLife has definitely changed mine.
I'm going to really quickly run through the reflections notebook to show you where I am with this, and also so that you can get an idea of what it looks like in case you want to enter the giveaway. So when you open it up, you've got like a little cover page, a description of what's going on, and a note from Sierra, who's the founder of MakseLife. And then there is space to do a compass assessment. The actual questions are not in the book, but you can get them for free online, and you can print them out online and just take the assessment there, which I did. What I will say about the compass assessment is this is the beginning of the goal setting process too, and I found this so incredibly helpful last year in terms of finding areas to focus, about thinking about my life, in splitting up about how to partition my life into these buckets and how to set goals in these buckets, and also just areas that are things that never would have occurred to me that I ended up setting goals around as I worked through the questions and really thought about them. It's very thought-provoking. So I found it super helpful in the beginning of the year, less so as the year went on, because it's just really difficult to score yourself subjectively on a scale of 1 to 10 and to like find a consistent scale to rate things. I'm very much a glass half full kind of a person, and everything is rosy and great kind of a person. And I scored myself pretty high at the beginning of the year. I felt like that was where I was at the beginning of the year. And I'm not going to say I disagree with that, but it did make it really hard to see progress in those actual numbers over the course of the year. And because of that, I sort of started to just like not feel as enthusiastic about the compass assessment throughout the year. Again, I think it was an essential tool for getting started with the goal setting, but I don't know that I necessarily gained a ton of information taking it each quarter. What I ended up deciding to do was to take it while looking at my scores from the previous time and just saying, do I feel like this went up or down? Do I feel better or worse about this? And that seemed to work a little bit better for me. For next year, I'm thinking about, I have my scores for the end of the year, how I compare on that scale. I'm thinking about reassessing the scale for next year to make it a little bit easier to see progress throughout the year, but I haven't fully decided how that's going to work yet, although I'm running out of time since I'm planning to film part of my goals at least tomorrow. So anyway, I will let you know when that happens. But so that is the starting area, and you've got like a little bit of reflections, and then you've got wins and highlights. I already know what is going to go on both of these pages. I have it written down somewhere else, but I have plans to film reels for this, so I didn't physically write on the pages yet. Then we've got challenges and lessons. These ones I did fill out already. I'm not going to read you everything. You overall heard how my year is going. If you watch my channel regularly, you know how my year has gone. Really, really amazing with a lot of sick kids right now. But anyway, I had some lessons, some good lessons. I will post pictures of a lot of this on Instagram as well. And if you have any questions, just obviously let me know. And then here we've got growth and gratitude. Again, here I think I'm going to film something. And on the growth, I wanted to like create a timeline of the whole year, like to draw in a number line for the year, but I didn't have time to do that yet. So I've just thought about these things rather than filling out the pages, which is fine with me. I will eventually fill out the entire book, but some of it is going to happen after I work on my goals. That's just what's going to work for me this year. Then we've got what's working and what's not working. I decided to go pretty low effort on these pages. I literally fill this out every single week in my reflections for my MakseLife in my planner. I know what is working and what is not working in my life. I have spent a very lot of time thinking about that, and I didn't feel like I needed to list out like all the individual things or spend a lot of time working on these 2 pages just because of how much effort I put into reflections on the day-to-day. Then I had the impact, which I thought was like kind of a cool thing. How do you want other people to experience you? The adjustments, which turned into a little bit of a novel, which I wasn't expecting, but I got into like letter writing mode and then just kind of kept going from there. Then you've got like these filled out reflections. I will definitely post pictures of this. I'm going to add in a little bit of color, and it's just really, really like a fun little prompts about things you're looking forward to, about things you're going to say no to, things you're going to say yes to. It's going to support you. A really great set of prompts that I filled out, and I did try and make my handwriting neat on these pages. And then the last thing, which I have decided to do, like purposely actually decided to do, a letter to me, like writing a letter to yourself. I thought I would have an easier time making like a more cohesive message to my 2023 self after I had done my goals. So I decided to save this one for after. This is going to be the last thing that I work on in this whole creating the goals and reflections process. And then I will start, doing my action items. And then the last couple of pages, this is where I These are the notes that I've been working off of for this entire video. These are where I went through my individual goals and actually just listed them all out, or listed how I was feeling or whether or not I accomplished literally all of them. So that is what I did with the pages in the back. And again, if you would like to win your own copy, I have a completely blank one here, and I will get that mailed out to you super, super quickly. This video is going up on Thursday the 22nd, so why don't we say Monday the 26th is the last day to enter. I will pick a winner then. If you get back to me quickly, I will get this mailed out to you, at least in the post office, before the end of the year. That way you can have it for first thing in January to start your own reflections process.
So now that you have seen me flip through the reflections notebook, I thought I would just share my words to describe the year. So the 3 words I used to describe 2022 were fun, organized, and frenzied. And the 3 words to describe how I felt were excited, stressed, and passionate. So minus stressed, we've got a pretty good situation going on here. Again, it's just I'm just having a really great year, and I'm looking forward to even more great stuff in 2023. In the coming year, I hope to keep that organization. I would like to be organized. I would like to keep that excitement, have that excitement in my life and still be excited. And I would like to be content. To me, that's like happy. It's like all of those things, but it has a sense of peace to it, and it has like a real zenness to it that I'm hoping to add more of into my life in 2023. Stay tuned because my goals will be coming soon. I've been hard at work on them, and I hope you enjoyed getting to spend this last Planmas day with me about hearing my reflections. Again, apologies for the technical difficulties. Hopefully it didn't take too much away from the video. Come back tomorrow. I will have another Planmas video. In the meantime, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, and check me out on Instagram and TikTok at MyCraftyPlans to keep up with everything going on goals-wise in my life and in my planners. And I will talk to you all tomorrow. Bye.